التافهة بشأن مضيق هرمز، وأخاطب الرأي العام العالمي وأقول إن مضيق هرمز لا يتعلق بأمريكا ولا بكل الطواغيت والجبابرة في العالم، بل يتعلق بشعوب هذه المنطقة. صحيح أن لأمريكا والغرب مصالح في هذه المنطقة، لكن مصالح الأصحاب الأصليين لهذه المنطقة أي مصالح شعوب هذه المنطقة مقدمة على أي مصالح أخرى. أو قدر لمصالحنا أن تتعرض لخطر، فما الموجب لبقاء مصالح أمريكا والدول الغربية؟ أود أن أؤكد للرأي العام العالمي ولكل ذوي الأفكار الحرة في العالم أن قرارنا بشأن مضيق هرمز حين تتعرض مصالح بلدنا في الخليج الفارسي لأي تهديد هو قرار قطعي وحتمي. إذا أردنا يوما أن ندلل الأمن في هذه المنطقة فمن المؤكد أن الدخول الأمريكي والبريطاني وكل قوة أخرى لا تستطيع أن تعيد الأمن إليها.
انهزام نقش امریکایی در محدوده شمال خلیج فارس.
والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about a powerful statement made by Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. In this video, he says something very direct. The Strait of Hormuz does not belong to the United States or the tyrants of the world. At first glance, this might sound like just another political speech, but in reality, this statement is about one of the most strategically important waterways on the planet. To understand why this matters, we need to understand three key things. What the Strait of Hormuz, why the United States operates there, why Iran believes it has the right to control it. Let's start with the geography. The Strait of Hormuz is a narrow water passage located between Iran and Oman. This narrow strip of sea connects the Persian Gulf to the Arabian Sea. But this is not just any shipping route, it is the most important oil checkpoint in the world. Around 20% of the world oil supply passes through this strait every single day. That means oil tankers carrying energy from countries like Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Iraq, and the United Arab Emirates must pass through this narrow corridor to reach global markets. If the Strait of Hormuz is blocked, oil prices could skyrocket overnight and the global economy would feel immediate shock. This is why major power, especially the United States, maintain a strong naval presence in the region. The US Navy regularly patrols the waters to ensure that it calls freedom of navigation from Washington precisely. The strait is an international waterway. That means no single country should control who can pass through it. But Iran sees the situation very differently. From Tehran's perspective, the Strait of Hormuz lies directly next to Iranian territory. Iran's coastline stretches along the northern side of the strait. Because of this geography reality, Iranian leaders argue that they have a natural right to influence or control what happens there. This is where the statement from Ali Khamenei becomes important. When he says the strait does not belong to the United States of the tyrants of the world, he is sending a message. he is sending a message. That message is directed to the Western powers who maintain military forces near Iran border. For decades, the United States has deployed aircraft carriers, destroyers, submarines in the Persian Gulf. These developments are meant to protect global trade routes and reassure US allies in the Middle East. But Iran interprets this action as a foreign military domination near its territory. So the speech in the video is essentially a declaration of a sovereignty. It is Iran saying the region belongs to the countries that live here, not outside power. However, there is also another layer to this message. Iran has repeatedly warned that if it is pushed too far, especially through sanction or military pressure, it could block the Strait of Hormuz. And this is not an empty threat. Iran has developed significant naval capabilities designed specially for this scenario. Instead of large traditional warship, Iran relies heavily on fast attack boats, naval mines, drones, and anti-ship missiles. These troops are designed for asymmetric warfare. That means Iran does not need to defeat the US Navy directly. It only needs to disrupt traffic long enough to cause economic chaos. Even a temporary shutdown the Strait of Hormuz could have global consequences. Oil markets would panic, shipping insurance costs would skyrocket, and energy importing countries would face supply shocks. Because of this risk, the strait has become one of the most sensitive geopolitical flashpoints in the world. Now let's talk about the deeper political meaning of the speech. Statements like these are not only meant for international audience, they are also aimed at the Iranian public. Iran has faced decades of economic sanctions, political isolation, and military pressure. By emphasizing control over strategic issues and geography, Iranian leaders present themselves as defenders of national sovereignty. In the other words, the speech is meant to strengthen the narrative that Iran is standing up to global superpower. At the same time, it sends a signal to Western governments. That signal is simple. If pressure on Iran increases, the stability of the world's most important oil route could also be at risk. This is why the Strait of Hormuz is often described as a global pressure point. Whenever tension rises between Iran and the United States, analysts immediately start asking the same question. Could the strait be closed? So far, despite many crises, it has never been fully blocked. Both sides understand the enormous consequences. For Iran, closing the strait would also hurt its own economy. For the United States and its allies, losing access to the passage would destabilize global energy markets. So instead of direct closure, what we usually see are signals and warnings. Naval exercise, missile test, political speeches like one in the video. These actions are part of what experts call strategic messaging. They are designed to influence global perception without triggering full-scale conflict. So when Ali Khamenei says the Strait of Hormuz does not belong to the United States, he is not just talking about geography. He is talking about power, influence, and control over global energy routes. The statement reflects a much larger geopolitical struggle between Iran and Western powers. And this struggle is not only about oil, it is about security, regional influence, and the balance of power in the Middle East. In the modern world, control of strategic checkpoints like the Strait of Hormuz can shape the global economy. This is why every statement, every naval movement, and every warning in this region is watched closely by governments around the world. Because if this narrow waterway is ever seriously disrupted, the consequences will not stay in the Middle East. They would spread across the entire global economy. And that is why speeches like this matter far more than they might seem at first glance. They are signals in one of the most important geopolitical chess games on earth.